The second, which I'm so excited about, I'm really very, very excited about this teaching. There's so many secrets revealed in here. We're not going to be able to get to many of them, but hopefully to the important ones we will. So in this week's portion, there's a very unique section. It's the only time in the Torah that this occurs. You have verses that begins with Vayihi bin Soa Ha'aron, Vayomer Moshe. It says when the tabernacle, the ark would move, because as we know, the Israelites at this point are in the desert and they travel from place to place. Whenever the ark would move, Vayihi bin Soa Ha'aron, Vayomer Moshe, when the ark would move, Moses would say these words, Kuma Hashem ve'afutzu oivecha, may the light of the Creator should rise up, and all the enemies, ve'afutzu oivecha ve'anusu mesanecha mipanecha, and all those who hate you will run away from you. Uvnucho yomar, and when the ark was put down, when they would rest, it would say Shuva Hashem rivavot alfei Yisrael. It speaks about the coming together of all people, all souls. 85 letters that are a very small part of the entire Torah. What's unique of those letters, those verses that we just said, is that there is a nun almost out of nowhere before these verses, and there's a nun, a backwards nun, at the end of these verses, almost like parentheses around them. You never find that anywhere else in the Torah. Clearly, when you see something like that, you realize that there's a great secret hiding here. Why are these 85 letters almost separated from the whole rest of the Torah with these parentheses, specifically the letter Nun in the beginning and the letter Nun at the end? It says in the Gemara, in the Talmud, in Shabbat, Tanur Abanan, Vayihi bin Soa Ha'aron Vayomer Moshe. These verses, these few verses, these 85 letters that we just spoke about. Parasha zu asala hakadosh baruch hu simaniyot milemala ulemata. The Creator made parentheses around these 85 words, these verses. Mipnei shesefer chashuv hu bifnei atzmo. Because it is a book, an important book on its own. That's what it says in the Talmud. That there are parentheses around these verses because it's an important book on its own. How can you call 85 letters, how can you call that a book? Not only do they call it a book, even if these are very important verses, it's saying on its own, it's maybe even as important as everything else in the Torah. What is so special about these words? What is so special about this section? And most importantly, what is it for us to both receive and learn from this? So to begin our understanding of this amazing light, the Chida, those of you who know, is a great Kabbalist, Chaim Yosef David Azulai, who had a very interesting life story. But in his commentary on this week's portion, he brings a quote. And those of you who've been on the trips, for instance, to Morocco, you know that one of the differences in Morocco is that a lot of the Kabbalists there, although they wrote many books, we do not have many of their books that remain. And it's always exciting to be able to share something from a Kabbalist, in this case, who did not publish any of his own teachings, although he wrote them and they're left over in what's called the Ktav Yad, in handwriting. But in his commentary, the Chida, Chaim Yosef David Azulai often quotes from the work of this Kabbalist from Morocco. The book is called, his name was Rabbi Khalifa, and the book is called Kaf Venaki, which does not exist, but we have the quotes in the Chida, in the great Kabbalist of Chaim Yosef David Azulai. So he writes, Rabbi Khalifa from Morocco writes, that these verses that we're talking about, that begin with the verse Vayihi bin Soa Ha'aron, when the ark was traveled, he says, Shar Hanun, we know that there are 50 gates of Binah, of understanding, which represent not physical understanding, but a level of light, that the 50th gate was concealed from Moses. ולכך יש נונים בפרשת ויהי בנסוע, לרמוז לנון שערי בינה. And therefore these two parentheses around these words and these verses are two letters nun, which represent the highest level of light, the highest level of understanding that was hidden even from Moses. ולא זכה ממנו כי אם פ"ה אותיות. And Moses only merited to keep 85 letters from the 50th gate from Binah. Now, you don't have to read much further, although we will, to understand this amazing revelation. We know that immortality, the Gemara Tikkun, the end of the correction, the removal of pain and suffering and death from our world will come when? When the 50th gate is revealed. We know that all the work that we've done throughout history have revealed the 49 gates. The 50th gate is when that light of the 50th gate is revealed, immortality comes to this world. When that light of the 50th gate in the world is revealed, pain and suffering and death is removed from this world. That's why, by the way, on Shavuot, which we get a taste. We don't get to keep it, unfortunately. We get a taste of the 50th gate on Shavuot. That's why immortality is given to us a little bit. Not as Rab would often point out, not eternal immortality, but at least for a year. It's the only place we find that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and again in the words of the Ari, promise that a person who connects on Shavuot will live out that year because we taste the 50th gate. And even though we don't get to keep it completely, that taste on itself gives us life for that year. That's what the 50th gate is. I mean, it's a lot more than that, right? It's a lot more than immortality. It's a lot more than the Gemara Tikkun in the end of the correction. But clearly it's everything. It's everything that we work for. It's everything the world is working for. It's everything that all the Kabbalists, all the great spiritual giants have been working for forever. And there's only one place in the Torah, Rabbi Khalifa is telling us, there's only one place in the Torah where that light is revealed. These 85 letters. These 85 letters are the only letters that Moses got to keep from the Shar Hanun, from the 50th gate. Lo zacha mimeno ki im, again, we'll read these words again because why are these two letters nun in the beginning and the end of these 85 letters and these verses? L'ramoz lenun sha'arei bina, vayhi b'nsoa gadol kechol haTorah. And this section is as important, is as great, has as much light as the entire Torah. These 85 letters have as much light, if not more, as we'll see, they even have more than every other section of the Torah. V'lo zacha mimeno, but Moses didn't get to keep ki im pei otiyot, only 85 letters. These 85 letters. So again, the first, before we even go deeper, and there's a lot of depth here, but before we even go deeper, we understand what's happening to us on the Shabbat, what's being given to us on the Shabbat. The only time, the only place except on Shavuot, that the light of the 50th gate, and just we're clear, as we said, the 50th gate that gives us immortality, that gives us Bila Mavet Lanetzah, that gives us Gemara Tikkun, is revealed within these 85 letters. No other time of the year, no other place in the Torah is this light revealed. That by and within itself, without going any further, means, hopefully to most of us, how important the Shabbat is. But there's more. There's an ancient question that is based on a teaching from the Zohar Chadash. The Zohar says something which if you read it literally is not true. The Zohar says that there are 600,000 letters in the Torah. 600,000 shishim ribo otiyot, 600,000 letters in the Torah. If you count, we don't have to, people have counted it before, there's just a little bit over 300,000 letters in the Torah. That's not off by a percentage, right? Off by 50%. The Zohar says 600,000 letters, and if you count it, it's 300,000, just a little bit over 300,000 letters in the Torah. To be exact, 304,000. 805 letters. 304,805 letters. The Zohar says 600,000. Why is the Zohar not telling us the truth? And it's like, it's not the type of thing that you can write about and nobody's going to find out, right? If I say, I'm holding up 10 fingers, right, I'm lying, right? It's not that complicated to figure out if it's true or not. So what's the secret of the Zohar telling us that there's 600,000 letters when if you count, you find only 300,000 letters? This is an ancient question, and Kabbalists throughout history have been answering it, but now we come to really an amazing understanding and revelation. The Chidah, the same Kabbalists who we mentioned earlier in quoting, and the Chidah often does this, he quotes from different Kabbalists, quotes from a group called the Gurei Ha'ari, the students, sometimes the students of the Ari, Rav Isaac Luria. And he says the following: Re'uya hayta haTorah shetiyeh 60 ribo otiyot. The Torah originally had 600,000 letters. Ubignizat ha'or harishon. We know it says that the totality of the light of the Creator was meant to be revealed, but the Creator saw that the world was not ready, so He concealed most of the light, what's called the Or HaGanuz. That concealed light is the 50th gate. So the Creator saw the world was not ready yet for the totality of the revelation. When it says He hid the light, He hid, of course, the light, but it also manifested in hiding half of the Torah. The Torah that we have is not the whole Torah that was revealed. Because the whole Torah that was revealed had 600,000 letters. The one that we have only has 300,000 letters. The other 300,000 letters are concealed still. And those 300,000 letters are the light that holds the light of immortality, the light of Bila Mavet Lanetzach. Moses, it says, first was given, in what's called the first tablets, was given all of the light, right? Because at Sinai, immortality was meant to be revealed. In what's called the first tablets, the totality of the light. Moses received all 600,000 letters of the Torah, all the light of the Torah. When the Israelites fell in the golden calf, it says the first tablets were broken. What it means is that the totality of the light, what's called the Torah, the light of the Creator, cannot be revealed in this world. What we got is what's called the second tablets, what's called the lower 49 gates. But the other 300,000 letters remain concealed. Out of those 300,000 letters, we were left with 85. Vahi bin Aaron, those verses, those 85 letters are 85 of the 300,000 that are still concealed. And now we understand why the Chidah, why the Kabbalist from Morocco, the Khalifa, writes that Vahi bin Soar gadol kechol Torah, that not only the light, but actually the letters within this concealed Torah, the 300,000 missing letters, 85 of which we're only given 85 to taste, but it's as great as the entire Torah. And that's why you find something very strange in the Talmud and other places where it says that there's really, we call them 5 books of Moses, or the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, the 5 books of the Torah. Really, it says there's 7. There's Bereshit, Shmot, Vayikra, the first 3. Then Bamidbar, the one that we're in now, is actually divided into the section that appears before Vahi bin Aaron. That's the 4th book. And then there's Vahi bin Aaron, which is a book by itself, which is the 6th book. Sorry, the 5th book. And then there is the part of Bamidbar that comes after, and then there's the book of Dvarim. So there's really 7 books. How does that make sense, that these 85 letters are as equal to everything else? Because now we understand. Because what they are is a glimpse into the hidden Torah, into the light of the Torah of the 50th gate, into the light of the Torah of the Gemara Tikkun, into the light of the Torah of Bila Mavet Lanetzach. What an amazing, amazing revelation. It gets better. The Kabbalists say, and this is based on a verse, it says in Isaiah that when the Gemara Tikkun comes, Ki Torah mi'iti tetzeh, the Creator says, I will let go, I will let free, I will reveal the Torah. And it says in the Midrash, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Creator says, Torah chadasha mi'iti tetzeh. I will reveal a new Torah, a new teaching. Torah chadasha mi'iti tetzeh. A new revelation, a new Torah will be revealed. Again, this is an ancient question. We know one of the understandings, what are called the ikarim, one of the important bases of our understanding is that the Torah will never change. So how does the Creator say in Isaiah, I'm going to give a new Torah, I'm going to give a new revelation after the time of the Gemara Tikkun, or at least during the time of the end of the correction, the time of immortality. Because what it means is that the 300,000 missing letters will finally be revealed to us. Therefore it says that at Sinai, as we said, Moses received all 50 things. Received the gate of immortality. But preceding the fall of the golden calf, the Israelites were meant to reveal immortality. But the Ari tells us, when the Creator tells him, let red go down, and let is the numerical value of 50. The Creator tells Moses, you have to leave. You have to, because you are their leader, you have to lose the 50th gate with them and for them. The second tablets, again, will reveal only the 49 gates of the 50th gate. These verses, by he bin Soah Ha'aron, when the ark moved, what was in the ark? The ark had the second tablet, the 49 gates, and they had the Shivrei Luchot. It had the broken parts of the first tablets. What's the light in the broken part of the first tablets? The 50th gate. And that's what is revealed between these two moons, which are numerical value of 50, which represent the 50th gate. This is where that new Torah, this is where that light of immortality is concealed in the Torah. So how do you get to it? Okay, so now, again, as I said, I hope this wasn't too complicated, but this is, for me, forget about any practical lesson we get from this. This is such a beautiful and important revelation. But how do you get to it? How do you access? Now we understand that really everything else that we do, any other study that we do, any other spiritual work that we do is within the realm of the 49 gates, which is okay. But it's not going to bring immortality. It's not going to bring the Gemara Tikkun, the end of the correction. How do you access these verses? How do you access that light of the 50th gate that is hidden within these verses? So, I want to read a story from the Zohar, which is a story that we all should know by heart, which is a story that really should direct all of our spiritual lives and work. Rabbi Chia Rabba Hava'aza legabe mareon de matnita. It says in the Zohar, this is in the book of Shemot of Exodus, section 234. Rabbi Chia the Great was going to study by the sages during the time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There were those who focused their study on the literal, and there were those who focused their study on the secrets, of course, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, led by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So Rabbi Chia the Great was on his way to study amongst those teachers who studied the literal, Limelaf Minayu, to study from them. But before that, Azal legabe Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. He wanted to go and study and visit Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. As an aside, I was talking to one of the Chevra yesterday, also another Chevra the day before, and the question that I always, which is really one of the first questions we have to ask ourselves, is how much time are you spending connecting to the Zohar and to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? And I'm almost always disappointed with the answer, but what has to be clear to us is that if we're not continuously growing our connection to the light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, to the light of the Zohar, it's impossible to accomplish what he came to this world to accomplish. Rabbi Chia the Great knew this as well, and that's why he, before he was beginning to study, he says, first I go to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. When Rabbi Chia the Great comes to visit Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he sees a wall of fire that separated him from Rabbi Shimon. Tava Rabbi Chia never saw anything like this before. Amar, he said, Eshma mila mipumei mehacha. I can't walk in because there's a wall of fire surrounding Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, but I can listen. I can at least listen to the words from outside of the wall. He listens to a little bit of the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Shama Rabbi Chia va'amar, as Rabbi Chia hears the secrets, and it gets not about the information, but the light that was being revealed by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he begins feeling pain. Pain for his lack, pain for his not pushing himself enough, pain for his lower spiritual state, pain for his lack of understanding. He says, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is studying inside, revealing light. Why am I so low that I can't access that. I can't study with him. I can't be inside with him. I have to be outside of the wall of fire. Bacha. And he begins to cry. And every word here is a secret. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai doesn't pay any attention to him, seemingly doesn't even see him before he begins to cry, but he begins to cry. Shama Rabbi Shimon ve'amar Rabbi Shimon hears the crying of Rabbi Chia, and he says, Vaday shchinta levara. I see that the light of the Creator is also outside of this wall of fire. Man yipok, who is willing, he asks his students who are studying in front of him, who is willing to go outside of the wall of fire to bring this man, Rabbi Chia, in? Amar Rabbi Elazar Berei, Rabbi Elazar, his son, says, I'ana kalena lo kalena. He says, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, says, I don't mind going outside and walking through the wall of fire because I know I'll be protected, I won't burn. The hashchinta bara minana, because the light of the Creator, the Shekhinah, is outside with Rabbi Chia. Leo shchinta v'teheve eshata shlemata. He should enter and study with us so that the fire can be complete. But then Rabbi Elazar was about ready to go outside and bring Rabbi Chia in. Shama kala de amar ad lo samchin istamchu. He's not ready yet. He's not supported enough yet. Veitarin lo itatkanu, and the gates have not been prepared yet for Rabbi Chia to enter. Umizutre divusmaya de eden dichanhu. He smells a little bit of the Garden of Eden, the voice says to Rabbi Elazar, but only a little bit, still. And therefore, lo nafak Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, does not go out to bring in. And Rabbi Chia in the story represents every single one of us. We're still outside of the light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, outside of the light of immortality, outside of the light of the tree of life. Yativ Rabbi Chia ubacha. Rabbi Chia began crying again. Vetganach, and he begins wailing, literally calling out in his pain. And he continues the discussion, the secrets that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is revealing within the wall of fire. Rabbi Chia is continuing to reveal outside. As he begins teaching, speaking, Rabbi Chia outside, Itpatach tara de pargod. The wall of fire opens up. But still, lo ayel Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia was still too scared to enter and to study with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Zakif Rabbi Shimon einoi. Rabbi Shimon lifts up his eyes. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai lifts up his eyes. Ve'amar, and he says, Shma mina, I see from the fact that the pillar of fire is opened up. It yahev reshuta lemandi ihu avrai ve'anan lego. Permission has been granted, has been given to the one sitting outside, in this case Rabbi Chia, but representing all of us when we merit it, to merit to enter and to be inside with us. Kam Rabbi Shimon azal esha meduchte. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai gets up, and the fire walks with him. Aduchta de Rabbi Chia. And now the fire envelops both Rabbi Chia, goes around Rabbi Chia as well. So let's understand what happened here. Again, there was a wall of fire around Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the students who were studying. A gate opened up in the wall of fire, but it wasn't enough yet. Rabbi Shimon had to get up so that the fire also enveloped and went around Rabbi Chia, and then Rabbi Chia joined them to study with them. And here are words, again, that are, hopefully now we'll know, are some of the most significant words for any person who's truly desiring not just to be a spiritual person, to do spiritual work, but to really accomplish the 50th gate. Amar Rabbi Shimon said, Kustifa de nehora de kaltira levar. He calls it, it's the spark that allows to become a part of. This Kustifa de nehora de kalitra levar. This spark of light that allows those who are outside to enter in and to become one with those who are inside. And he brings Rabbi Chia in with him. Kevan da'al lego, as Rabbi Chia enters, he puts his eyes down to the floor. He does not dare to lift his head up. Amar Rabbi Shimon le Rabbi Elazar Berei. Rabbi Shimon says to his son Rabbi Elazar, Kuma avar yada chapume. Put your hand, Rabbi Shimon says to his son Rabbi Elazar, put your hand by the mouth of Rabbi Chia. because he's not used to what's going on here. He's not used to this type of light. He's not used to, he's never seen before this type of light. Kam Rabbi Elazar gets up, Ha'avar yadei apumi de Rabbi Chia, and he puts his hand on the mouth of Rabbi Chia. Patach pumei Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia then opens up his mouth. Ve'amar, and he says, Chama'ena madalo chamena. I have seen now with my eyes what I have never seen before. Is dakaf de lo chashivna. I have lifted up, I have arisen, I have become taller spiritually than I ever imagined I would. Tav lemeimat be'esha de dahava tava dalik. It would be worth it to die in this golden fire. Be'atar d'shvivin zarkin lecholevar, as the sparks of light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai are thrown all over. Because whenever Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai speaks, all the supernal angels and all the spirits and forces in this world stop. And they say, Hadein hu Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Is this the great light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? They have a marish kola. Man yachel lemekam kamei. Is this the light that is being thrown off from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Dein hu Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The bishata de patach pumi, that when he opens up his mouth, lemishre lemile b'meoraita, to start speaking the words of wisdom, the words of the Torah. Tzaiten lekolei kol savan v'chol rikiyin v'chol retichin. All the angels and all the heavens, they all listen to his words. Chad Mesayim Rabbi Shimon the Mili Be'oraita, when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai finishes his speech, Man chami shirin, man chami chedvata. You can't imagine the songs, you can't imagine the joy that is awakened. Atyan kulu begine de Rabbi Shimon. All of the angels and all the heavens come before the Creator because of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. V'charin v'sagdin kamei de marehon. They bow down before the light of the Creator. V'chol hai beginei de Rabbi Shimon. And all of this is because of the light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the only soul to get to keep the light of the 50th gate. He was a reincarnation of Moses, as we spoke about in Leg BaOmer. We spoke about the 85 letters that Moses got to keep, the Chidases. Where are the other 300,000 letters? Or at least the light of the other 300,000 letters? It's in the Zohar. But you can't connect to the Zohar and you can't connect to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai unless you go through the process that Rabbi Chia goes through here. It's a very important understanding, and it's not more than basic, but it's one that I don't think most of us do. I was talking to one of the Chevre yesterday and I said, it's so easy to have a routine in your spiritual work, but there is no chance that a person in a routine of spirituality will ever touch the 50th gate. Rabbi Chia came to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and he saw the pillar of fire that separated him from that light. I was talking to the Chevra, I said, if you were a student of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, imagine yourself for a moment a student of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Imagine yourself even a student of Rav Ashlag. How many of the things that you really allow yourself, the routine that you allow yourself to keep, would you still be keeping? It's not, but we don't, of course, see ourselves as students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, as students of Rav Ashlag, and therefore we allow ourselves to fall into this routine. When was the last time you felt the pain that Rabbi Chia felt here? If you're not, to the degree that you're not feeling this pain, Ana Yativ Abrai, first you have to be clear, you're sitting outside. The 49 gates, which is everything else, is outside. The 50th gate, which is revealed in the Shabbat, is inside. If you don't cry, as Rabbi Chia cried here, if you don't say, as Rabbi Chia says here, Yativ Rabbi Chia Bacha Ve'etganach, Rabbi Chia begins crying and wailing because he realizes that he is outside of the wall of fire of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the gate will never open up for you. The only reason the gate opened up for Rabbi Chia, and not only did the gate open up for Rabbi Chia, but as we find in the story in the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon gets up and then the wall of fire goes and surrounds him. Rabbi Chia did not grow in understanding, and Rabbi Chia did not grow in action in these moments. Only one thing grew: his desire and his pain of lack. And that has to be a question we have to ask ourselves on this Shabbat, because we realize now it's a Shabbat that we can enter into this wall of fire. We have the ability on the Shabbat to enter into the light of the 50th gate, into the Vayihi bin Soharon, into the 50th gate that is 85 letters of which are revealed to us on the Shabbat. There's only one way in, though. Nothing to do with understanding or wisdom or study or even spiritual action. Only one thing. How many times do you come to the understanding this is happening inside, and I'm sitting outside? How many times yativ v'bachavet ganach do you cry and you feel the pain of how far you are from the inner light of the 50th gate? When Rabbi Chia enters, and again, therefore I say this story is one that we should read over and over and over and over again, because not only this, as we often know, as we say, it's not simply that there's a lesson for us to learn here, but there's the light of it as well. Every one of us is lacking this pain and lacking this desire. You want to get it? Read this section over and over again. If you want to merit to enter into that wall of fire that's surrounding the 50th gate, feel the pain, beg for the pain, beg for the understanding of lack. But what's great is when you enter there, and every single one of us has the ability to enter there, because it's not about wisdom, it's not about understanding, it's not even about action, it's about the pain. Patach Pumi Rabbi Chia ve'amar, when Rabbi Chia came in, he says, Chama'ena madolachamina. He merits to see what he's never seen before. Is dakaf delo chashivna. I've been raised up like I've never thought I could. There's a lot more that can be said, but I hope that we all have the merit to at least desire to awaken the pain that Rabbi Chia feels in this story, because as we said, it's important that we, it's every once in a while, hopefully often, you study something. This is one of those teachings that, if you understand, really changes everything about your spiritual work. Everything else that we're doing, everything else that we're studying, every other action that we're taking is the 49 gates. The 49 gates never bring immortality, never bring the Gemara Tikkun. You have to enter into the 50th gate, which is what is given to us the opportunity of on this Shabbat. But there's only one way in through that wall of fire into the 50th gate. The feeling of the pain, through the crying of Rabbi Chia, through the crying hopefully of ourselves. And then once you begin to enter these words, Chama eina madalo chamina. I've seen with my eyes, Rabbi Chia says, what I've never seen before is dakif delo chashivna. I've been made to elevate like I never thought I could. I never imagined would be possible for me. As Hashem, may we merit to do this work, to understand this work, and to slowly start entering into the 50th gate through the walls of the pillar of fire around the light of the 50th gate, around the light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.